G'day friends and fans, welcome to Dave Talks Off Ukraine War Update for the 19th of March 2026. I'm your host, the author, David Applegate, bringing you reliable, unbiased news from the front. The Ukraine war continues and the war of words continues, but as you can see, there have been drone attacks on the west. They're showing that Russia is still able, and of course, if you haven't learnt that from the recent attacks from Iran, that yes, they are adapting to Western air defenses faster than expected. I believe the more we use our defense systems, the more the Russians can learn from our defense systems, which is why you should be so reluctant to go to war in the first place. Now, of course, there are many things, defective, but no, nothing's 100%. And swarm tactics are working, and so far nothing is working against swarm tactics. Drones are winning the war where fast missiles are not. And drone swarms allow fast missiles to get through most of the time. Russia uses profiling. They fire missiles at different profiles based on the electronic profile of Ukraine. They're looking at a 3D digital map. They look at the radar fluctuations. The Ukrainians are sweeping the skies. Every time Russia launches aircraft, they are trying to work out how to maximize their defenses while Russia is trying to confuse them. So there's a constant cat and mouse going on at the chess level of strategic thinking. That is moving pieces ahead of time so that you can go, ha! You didn't see my queen coming for my castle move, or whatever you want to call it, the check. But right now they're going through check, 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 check with no mate. So here we have a lot of activity. Russia has advanced in near Fedorivka, Druka, and Kamensk in the last hour. A lot of this map, does not show. And I was wondering whether or not it's time to change maps, because this is getting tired. But we do have Russian advances here in the north. We do have a little bit, not much, movement and activity. Russia's made small advances here in near Kupiansk from the east. Now it looks like they are probing once again the Ukrainians at Kupiansk. We do not know if or when. That's the point. Could be days, weeks, or months before the Russians launch another major offensive. But that doesn't mean there isn't ongoing battles. Now, it looks like the push to Lyman has stopped, and they're bogged down at outside of Zaporizhzhia, which they've gotten past. They're still here locked down at Szturm. They're still locked down here at the base outside of Lyman. And they haven't made much advance outside of Seversk or anywhere else now. They've made a little bit of changes here to the map. There's nothing of significance. But we have Russians pushing out of Zaporizhzhia in the north. They're pushing towards Kupiansk. We have Russians pushing Now, here's the thing. according to Deep State, yeah. See, the Russians are making advances. They're just not marking it on the map. Now, Live Maps gets a lot of their information from various sources, including an organization known as Deep State. But somehow, they are not marking all the activities. So, I'm just reading off the feed here and there. Trying to match up, and in the Lyman area they're making pushes towards south of Lyman and towards Krevny Luka. The Russians are pushing towards Makarivka as we go to Zaporizhzhia. Stanky, Veleninkia, Chinov, Prevalence, and Bryansk. They're still on the outskirts of, they're still pushing towards Zaporizhzhia. There is still many more pushes as we go around the map. But as we go to Zaporizhzhia, you can see that's where it's intense. Now, the Russians are pushing hard towards Zelensky and Dubrunilia. So as we go around the map, you can see there's lots of activity. There's a big push here. All right, but as we go around, there's lots of activity, most air bombs, so the Russians are pushing hard towards here from the north and the east. And you can see as we go up here. Right. Where is it? This is where there's a discrepancy in the maps. Ah, here it is. Yeah, they're pushing hard here. The Ukrainians are trying to push them back. Yeah, so the Russians are counterattacking here. The Ukrainians have offensive has failed. The Russians are pushing back now. We'll see. But there's pushes here. Pushes here. And there's a push towards Orkville. I'm just going to call it Orkville. Now there's lots of activity at Kherson as well. Mostly artillery and drones. A lot of the drones have been launched also at sea towards Odessa. And the Ukrainians have tried to attack Sevastopol. Now, apparently there were explosions. We don't know if it was boats or a landing party. But it's been big. Now, apparently entering service is a new version of the T-72 Szturm. It's an unmanned tank. And why is it critical? Because it frees up manpower, right? Instead of... You've all played video games, I hope. So you all understand when I say, when you're playing a game, you're often taking on many roles through the interface. And many people have asked, why haven't these interfaces militarized? Well, they have. It's just they haven't worked out all the bugs. You think how buggy a lot of these games are. You want to be on the battlefield and have doop 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 or bonk as your feedback, or you want pew pew. Yeah, you want the pew pews, and the pew pews don't work when you got a big blue screen of when you hear bonk. Oh yeah, that's the last thing you want when you've got your $3 million tank out on the battlefield. The last thing you want is your link severed. Boss! No. Victim. He died in combat. So, yeah, you do not want to lose your tank because you crashed. Yeah. Reminds me of the South Park movie. Bill Gates, Satan, Windows 98. Please, don't tell me. Yeah, it's a good one. Alright, so here it is being field tested in Siberia. They do the, this is a technique. I don't know where it came from, but it's called the highlight technique. They highlight something and you go, what? Yeah, what are you highlighting? They highlight nothing, right? Most thumbnails are just emotional manipulation. Hey, don't hate the player, hate the game. If people weren't clicking Mr. Beast videos, we wouldn't have, well, basically, if it wasn't for TikTok. All right, so they're taking the tanker out of the tank and putting him in a 3D environment and trying to get the tanker in a 3D environment to work as the crew, right? To see, you take away the gunner and the loader. So mostly you got the driver and the instead of a gunner, you have the driver, who's now a machine operator, and you have instead of a gunner, you have a weapons operator. Because the gunner aims the gun. A weapons operator is different. They're point and click. They're playing a video game. So the driver is navigating the field, trying to make sure the tank does not crash, and the weapons operator is making sure that all the bits and pieces. Now, as you can see, this is the Szturm has the T-80 reactive armor plates. It has the same gun as the T-90, the 125mm smoothbore. It has the all the sensors. The now this is up on the top here is an array of weapons. It's a mount. Right now it appears that it's got the 12.7 and some canister mounts. And it's also got canister mounts on the side of the turrets. As you can see, it's assembled like a real tank. It's the size of a T-72. But instead of driver, it's got the control hatch. And they keep it on station. Can you drive a tank through these? So they mark the positions for a tank to go through. You learn the landscape, so you know this is why how tankers think. You got to think well ahead, because it's not just where you're driving, it's where you're driving to. You got ditches and all sorts of obstacles, and the battlefield will change. You see there, it's got some sort of cover on its gun. It's got different models with different what do you call it? There, the radar. It's not a radar dish. It's a microwave pack. It's not just microwave. It's actually also it's a camera. It's a multi-frequency camera, I believe. So basically, it gives you day, night, and it's also got it's LiDAR, microwave. It creates a visual so that no matter fog, you'd see through it. Right, fog, smoke, day, night, pitch black. Doesn't matter. That pack will see through it. And they seem to have an effective, somewhat effective camouflage, which you see it's the sleeve over the gun barrel. As you can see, a lot of the time they paint them dark green, and can you spot the tank? Too late, you're dead. And there you go. They have the lime green, the dark green. As you can see, they've got covers on some of the sensors. They train with pop-ups, various your various reaction times if you can't meet the reaction time. So they're not just training the tank, they're training the crew, but I also think they're training the AI and the visual surrounding generator, because the AI has to recreate. So they train like real gunners, real tankers, but these are unmanned vehicles. There you go. There's the big boy, 12.7 millimeter. That's the big gun. It has canister packs. These are counter battery smoke canisters. They have everything. So, and they assemble just like a real tank. And apparently they're 3/4 of the size of a real tank. But they have a, see they've got the gun in the rear position, covered with a canvas bag. Now, as far as I know, they're operated from a vehicle, but the Russians often use real vehicles as these pickup trucks that are common throughout Ukraine. They're using Ukrainian pickup trucks as this is what a lot of Ukrainian vehicles are. They have 50s/60s style pickup truck with a gunnery on the back. This is what the Russians use for target practice. Captured Ukrainian vehicles. So the explosion in the engine block. They're not using, they're training with AP instead of high explosive. Yeah, well, it's cheap, isn't it? Just a slug. Straight up slug. It's mostly tank warfare. Slugfest, yeah, see. But they can lock onto a target, right, and fire up to 12 rounds. They time everything. So if you don't meet the standard, So as again, you see, it's not the size of a tank. There's no crew, right? You can see straight away there's no crew area. Right. It's got dual link. It's got side panel detectors. So remember, it's unmanned. Everything is broadcast back. Now, what the Russians are working on is what happens when you lose the link. Now, you've seen the mini tanks before, I think. The Hacksaw, all these tanks, they get cut off, they're worthless, right? They straight away artillery. Russians have destroyed thousands over the last 2 to 3 months. Drones. But what Russia's doing with these tanks, they do have an AI. If something goes wrong, the tank remembers its path home. It'll find its way back home. It has. Now, you may not know this. America's had autonomous driving vehicles for 20 years. It's not widely used technology, and there are bugs in it. That's why it's not majorly used. But there's autonomous vehicles like the rover on the moon and the one they sent to Mars. India sent one to Mars. Russia sent a autonomous orbiter to the moon recently. All these things translate somehow into military technology. As if it can't be militarized, it's not prioritized. That's the State Department, I believe, and other departments. They all looking, something isn't a threat. It's pushed to the sideline, Right now, the war, of course, in Ukraine is primarily about energy disruption. Ukraine is trying to disrupt gas and oil in Russia, and Russia's trying to disrupt most of its electrical power. Several settlements today are without power across Ukraine, and some say only several settlements have power in Ukraine. It's not that bad, but they did take out several key nodes. But most of the power has been restored within a few hours. But there's still a few left who haven't got power. And as if you didn't know, there was an orchestrated campaign around the world to embarrass Donald Trump, run by Keir Starmer, Macron, Zelensky, and Merkel 2.0 in Germany. Now, there are US congressmen who are part of this campaign. Colonel Vindman, even, I think, I don't think, what's his name? John Fetterman has called anybody out by name, but he has said the party is, what did he say? He doesn't understand why. Well, it's politics, John. They know why they're doing it. Donald Trump wants something, so they want to stop them. Okay? Trump wants peace in Ukraine, so they push war. Now, drone attack, 138 drone attacks by Ukrainian unmanned vehicles. They should say aerial vehicles, unmanned airborne vehicles, right? Because there are other drones on the battlefield. Shut down 138. So, there was a drone that successfully got through. Russia's got new air defenses again. They are testing how many variants now? I think 3 variants now of the Tor weapon system, which is to probably phase. Eventually, they'll select which one will phase out the SA-28 with the SA-38, which is the upgraded version. All the way back to the SA-16. Now, Russia has come under not just political but cultural attacks now, where Russians, even those who have been living in the West, are being socially isolated, victimized, attacked for their ethnicity, so expelling Russian ballerinas, painters, this is all part of an orchestrated campaign by Ukraine to replace Russians with Ukrainians. But now they too are facing dismissal. Tit for tat. You get our people fired, we get your people fired. Cancel culture is now part of the social and economic warfare against Russia. I believe it was all along. Social media influencers, clout chasers. Zelensky's just a social media clout chaser, if you haven't figured that out. He tore down the reputation of the Ukrainian government before him, and now he does exactly the same thing that they did. He promised peace, he's delivered war. But war is peace, comrades! Or hail, big brother! Sorry, that's misogyny, big sister. Now, Zelensky's oil blockade of Hungary and Slovakia has triggered not only delays to vital loans, but has cut off electricity, has cut off diesel supplies. Zelensky can't launch an offensive, and he's now, I believe by many, being slowly pushed back. Let's see. 2 hours ago, Russians advanced on Okivitlia, Midovitskaya, and Valovitskaya. They have 3 hours ago they advanced to Marine. So, yeah, the Ukrainian forces managed to hold in Berezyn. So, the war news feed is not looking good for Ukraine. And they need that 90 billion for air defenses, as Russia has launched. Now, of course, they do have drones, and here they say 147 Russian drones, 128 shut down. So, again, most of them are fixed-wing surveillance. So, Russia takes this into account. They know exactly how many. But Russia's new they've upgraded the Mil-28. We'll probably be looking at that next. Europe has now caused tit-for-tat reactions of cutting off Russian energy, insults, has exposed Zelensky as a thug and a bully who gets his way by making threats of violence. And, however, the EU, well, Ursula von der Leyen likes her little toy boy. Oh, she likes her little cuddly bear. Her little Ukrainian bear. Cuddle, cuddle. That's why you never should put women into politics, I tell you. Triggered in the comment section below, where I can ignore you. Alright, so come on, people, have a laugh. Alright, so Russian troops in 18 hours ago. Again, the maps are not updating as... They're just not updating. We know. This is all to discredit Russia. Okay, but do you imagine if Russia, as in launched World War II level, which they can, thousands of these across Ukraine, just every day, rock up. But it'll take, remember, Russian build-up in World War II took 40% of the US GDP. 40% of the US GDP was spent every month on Russia. America was running at 200%, right? And if it wasn't for all the money they got back after the war from Britain, France, Germany, and Russia, though they didn't get much back off Russia, they only got, Russia did not pay interest, I believe, on the war. Well, it's disputed exactly how much Russia repaid. But according to Putin, apparently that debt was repaid at the original terms. So make of that what you will, right? There's a lot of criticism of Russia, but remember, France wanted forgiveness on debts, So, now, I'm not angry or bitter, right? If someone turned around tomorrow and said, hey, Zelensky's not an arsehole, he's deputy prime minister, well, he should fire him. Right. If Hungary is our ally, we should not prioritise Ukraine over Hungary. Ukraine is not our ally. See, we're only rewarding Ukraine for giving up its nuclear weapons. Ukraine is exploiting us, as far as I'm concerned, to fight their war against Russia. But I am not being biased. It's my opinion that Ukraine struck first in 2014 and has been killing ethnic Russians since, and Zelensky eventually drew Putin into a war to protect the ethnic Russians in Ukraine. And if people can't accept that, I can't control it, right? The majority of people still believe Ukraine is the victim, because that is the narrative that, because Europe and its feminists, Trump won't call out Zelensky. This is why a lot of people are blackpilled right now. A lot of people have no faith in the system anymore, all because of fucking Ukraine. And whatever they have must be so goddamn fucking important that the truth, well, it's politics, so the truth is always a casualty, right? But all these people slobbering over Ukraine who 5 years ago didn't even know the goddamn fucking country existed. But there are a lot of Ukrainians in the West who are pumping out crap every day. I'm so glad you took the time to watch my video and have not been, because there's so much misleading out there. So thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please support the channel and support me on Ko-Fi, Patreon, buy my books, buy merch. Thank you to everybody who supports the channel. See you in the next video, and bye for now.